gray hair? Do you wish you didn't? Stick around because I'm going to cover the science of how we get our gray hair. Some of it really surprised me. And then I'm going to cover what they are doing to fix it. They can not only cure gray hair now, they can also cure vitiligo. Did you know that? I love it. Okay, but if you're not quite ready for science to fix all your problems, then I'm also going to go over over-the-counter solutions, because it's not only the grayness that's so wrong. I mean, people intentionally dye their hair to be gray. I don't know what's up with that. I've been hiding from gray for so long, but it's not the gray hair, it's also the wiriness. So we'll also talk about over-the-counter solutions to keep your hair from going wiry. So it turns out the very thing people pay to put on their hair to lighten it is also the thing that we naturally create in our bodies. And instead of turning our hair blonde, although we do go around saying, oh look, I've just got a few more blondes in my hair today, it doesn't actually turn our hair blonde. It turns us this sick shade of gray. And here's the reason. Come to my board. So over here, I wrote down all my notes so I could actually read them while talking to you. Clever! Okay, so come in a little bit closer. There, that's good. You can read that, right? It all comes down to less enzymes being built up in your body or being made in your body. And this is going to allow the hydrogen peroxide to take over. So look at this pretty drawing I did of hair. It's got melanin in it right there. See? All that color, that's melanin. But we stop making this when we go gray. And why do we stop making it when we go gray? Because we have hydrogen peroxide in our body, and that's normally fine. This is a normal process. We have hydrogen peroxide in our body, perfectly normal, but this enzyme right here, catalase, this is an antioxidant. It's a very powerful antioxidant in our body. And what it does is it takes this hydrogen peroxide and it breaks it down into water and oxygen. So it's breaking that apart so it doesn't do any damage. But when we make less of this enzyme, it goes forward. A little bit's always going forward, but this reduces it. So it goes forward and it damages our hair follicle. Now, we can still survive this because we have this dyslexic Mrs. here. I don't know why, that's how I remember it. It's a dyslexic Mrs. So this MSR A and B, this is like a Band-Aid. It heals all the damage that the hydrogen peroxide has done. So we're still doable. But as we age, we lose the catalase. Did I say that right? Catalase. We lose the catalase and we lose our MSR A and B. So the hydrogen peroxide is just taken over, and when it does this, it's killing off our melanocytes. Did I say that right? Melanocytes. And the melanocytes are what's responsible for making the melanin in our hair. So without this, we don't get color. We get no color. And we have the hydrogen peroxide not only destroying the melanites, but also drying out the hair, which is why gray hair is drier and wiry, because it is, well, okay, it's being destroyed by the hydrogen peroxide. It's just being overrun. Now, what about that amazing science that is fixing all of this? It's really fascinating, especially when you realize that we actually have solutions now. Back in 2013, L'Oreal said they had a solution, and it was a pill that you would have to take for the rest of your life. But that's a whole nother conversation, because that pill turned out to be a bust and did not work, according to the research I did. Never mind that. Let's take it one step at a time. Over to this side of the board, my dear. Right here, yes. Why did I spell that wrong? We have, and I spelled that wrong, so ignore that. Our vitiligo is caused by oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is also what's causing our gray hair. So it's the whole process, according to science, being caused by the hydrogen peroxide. So to fix this, what they did is they came up with a pseudocatalase. It is called PC-KUS. I don't know if you actually have a pronunciation for this. PC-KUS? I don't know. So this here can come in a cream I don't know if it comes in a pill. I drew it as a pill, but I know it comes as a cream. And for people who have vitiligo, say it slower, vitiligo, they put it in the areas where they have the missing color on their skin, and then they go and spend some time in the sun. And the sunlight mixed with the pseudocatalase restores the melanin in the skin. Pretty cool. So they say the exact same thing can also work for gray hair. So right now science is using the PC-KUS mixed with sunlight, because it needs the sunlight, I guess, to activate it. I'm not sure, but that's always a component. That and signaling pathways. That was a lot more research, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let that one rest. But these two things are the way science is correcting both the gray hair and the melanin missing from our skin. We don't have that much longer to wait. In the meantime, let me tell you what you can do about your graying hair. So glutathione supplements, if you take it on an empty stomach at bedtime, allegedly, again, this is all stuff I've read. This is not stuff I've done personally. I still use this. What I've read is glutathione supplements can actually make a difference, because as well as the catalase, I don't know if it's barely showing up on the board, catalase right there, as well as that as one of our body's natural antioxidants, glutathione is in fact the master antioxidant in our body. So if you take supplements for that, it's also going to break down that hydrogen peroxide, which is killing off the enzymes which protect the hair. So it will do about the same thing as the PC-KUS, which is again a pseudocatalase. So you see either the catalase or the glutathione.
I can't say that word.
I'll post it in the info box below so that you can just Google it and research it yourself. So those are two ideas. The next thing, of course, is what we've been doing for centuries, dyeing our hair. I started using ones that say no peroxide. I mean, that's what's causing the problem. No peroxide and no ammonia. And they have a lot of semi-permanent hair dyes that will do that. I used to use, even before going with no ammonia and no peroxide, I used to use a product called AGEbeautiful. It's made by ZOTO. It's a pretty cool product, actually. It makes it so that your hair is shinier, smoother. What else did it do? Fuller. I mean, it's like the miracle of hair dyes. AGEbeautiful by ZOTO. But then I stopped using it. Why would this amazing product ever be something I didn't want to use anymore? Well, because it did this thing where I ended up with a skunk stripe right here at my roots. You know the glowfish you see at the pet store? Really pretty things, but you don't want that like stunningly vibrant shade on the roots of your hair while the rest of your hair is like normal color. That's just awful. There's a name for it. I want to act like I'm all smart and I know all these things, but I actually had to look it up to see what this was called. Okay, so hot roots. Oh, the reason my hair was getting hot roots, so while it's doing a great job coloring the rest of my hair, and it was made for gray hair, so I don't know why it did this, the grays, the new grays, all the gray that had already been dyed was just fine, but the new grays were not taking it to the same level. So the peroxide was lightening the hair color, but what it was putting back was not being absorbed, I guess, by the gray hair, because the gray hair, as well as losing its color, being bleached from the inside out by the hydrogen peroxide, and not having any melanin because of the fact that the melanocytes had been destroyed, beaten down. Aside from all that, the hydrogen peroxide is also bleaching the hair from the inside and drying it out, and that changes the texture of the hair itself. It's coarser, it's drier, and that makes it wiry and resistant to hair color. So I was getting hot spots. So I was done with that. It looked ridiculous on so many levels. Then I started using products that don't have peroxide and don't have ammonia. And that was a good start, it really was. I was using a Clairol Beautiful collection. Here, let me see if I can pretend like I'm holding it. Did it work? I don't know. I used Clairol Beautiful collection for gray hair. I liked it, but it's semi-permanent. I swear it was semi-permanent, because within 2 weeks, it seemed like my grays were already starting to show back again, and that was getting kind of obnoxious. I've got to put my pen down, I'm fiddling with it. That was getting really obnoxious and old, and I just had to keep maintaining it. Ugh. So then I thought I'd try one of the other ones that are also no peroxide, no hydrogen. And I am only telling you this so that you don't do the same thing. There is one called Adore. I'm looking down at my notes. I'm sorry, that's what I keep doing. I'm looking down at my notes here. Ta-da! Because I couldn't remember. I used it only once, and once was enough for me. It was called Adore, and I'll see if I can find a picture of it and put it right there. It tinted, oh, it tinted everything except my hair. It was like food coloring. It was even the consistency of food coloring. That's pretty much what I was doing to myself. I poured it in and it was like water just running back down. I was like, what the? So I immediately went, and we're talking about hydrogen peroxide again, to the rescue this time, because I immediately grabbed a bottle and poured it on the carpet because I was like, oh my God, I just stained my carpet with this viciously red color. So I poured hydrogen peroxide and yay, it did its job. It bleached the color out. And then I ran over to step inside my tub and use that whole area as a containment. And I put the stuff on my hair, I waited it out, and then I went to go rinse it out as you're supposed to. If I could roll my eyes up into my head, I would. This product was just awful. So I have a white shower. I had a white shower. It was bad. I mean, the whole thing was just stained. This stuff just, like, when you rinsed it out, it just splattered, and it stained the walls. And I thought, this is a nightmare. And I thought, if it does that much on my hair, maybe I could live with this. If I'm just like, maybe I'll go out into the woods and do my hair and come back and it'll stay this color. It did not. It stayed on the shower tile longer than it did my hair. So if you ever come across this product, Adore, you're not gonna adore it, trust me. It's not gonna work. So then I did a little bit more research, and I realized what I need is something natural so that my hair doesn't dry out, and that was henna. Henna, I think, for graying hair is probably one of the best things you can do. If you have gray hair, trust me, this is probably, actually don't trust me, it's not, I do all the research and I try something and I decide I like it, but we all have our own hair. But I would recommend at least trying it and getting your own thoughts on it, because it doesn't damage the hair. It stays in really well. And back to not damaging the hair. I love the not damaging the hair concept. So I bought this one at the local beauty shop for $5. So that was pretty good. For those of you who are interested in trying henna, it's actually kind of unique. It's interesting because when you mix it up, it starts out, well, a little watery. And here, let me open this thing up. Your instructions, your gloves, and your little mixing kit. And it comes out pretty clumpy, watery. I mean, it's watery with little clumps. You mix it in and within minutes, it turns into a gel. It's pretty cool. Let's review what all we learned here today. Gray hair is caused by hydrogen peroxide. And then we have dried out hair. There are ways to fix this. We can either use a Pseudocatalase, or we can use that other supplement I said before. I'm not gonna try and say it again. I'm not, that was hard. Or of course we can dye our hair, which all you need for that is a big fluffy bathrobe to catch all your spills, and of course some henna. That is really the best way, because you don't want to dry out what is already dried out. That's when you get your really big wiry going on. I will see you guys next week with my gorgeous, like, not gray locks, and hopefully some new clothing from Kohl's. Until then, stay safe.